Hello there, my name's Caramia Muffet and I'm a trainer in mental health for Mind in Salford. Today I'm going to be talking to you about anxiety. Feeling anxious is a normal reaction. For example, we may feel anxious before an interview or before visiting the doctors or dentist. We can also feel anxious if we are in danger. For example, if we are approached by a dog in the street who looks like it could be nasty. Anxiety can be a really helpful response when we feel danger. In fact, it can literally save our lives, and I'm going to explain how. Our brain is constantly scanning everything that comes into view to see if it is a threat. When we are confronted with a dangerous situation, a part of the brain called the amygdala becomes active. This is responsible for initiating a super fast response by communicating with the hypothalamus, which is based at the base of the brain, and between them they are responsible for releasing hormones such as cortisol, adrenaline and noradrenaline into our body. These hormones start changes in our body, such as raising our heartbeat, so our heart may begin to pound faster, rising our blood pressure, tensing our muscles and releasing of sweat. We may also get a shortness of breath and have a dry mouth. Butterflies may appear in our stomach and we may feel like we need to go to the toilet rather urgently. We can also get lightheaded and get a headache and feel faint, although it's almost impossible to faint at this point, as this usually occurs when our blood pressure lowers and when we are anxious our heart rate increases. Nevertheless, all these feelings are perfectly normal when we experience anxiety, and there is a good reason why every single change in our body occurs. For example, we may feel lightheaded because of blood from the body being prioritised to go to the muscle groups in our arms and legs in order to allow these muscles to be utilised if we need to fight or run from the situation. It's lucky that we wouldn't need to make a big decision at this point, because our decision-making abilities would be hindered with the majority of the blood supply being utilised by other muscle groups. During periods of anxiety, some of the blood will also leave the stomach area and be directed again towards the muscles used to fight or run. This will relax the stomach, and hence why we may need to use the toilet immediately. This, by the way, although it might not feel very nice, is another helpful way that our body prepares us for action, as it makes our body much lighter for when we do have to do the running or the fighting. The sweats then begin, so when our body does start to fight or run, we won't overheat. So we can see that every single change that happens to our body during an anxiety response happens for a reason. It is our body's way of getting us ready to fight or to run away, and there's a name for this response, and it's called the fight or flight response. This all happens before any part of the brain that is responsible for rationally thinking can process what is happening. This reaction can literally save our lives. For example, if you were to step out into the street in front of a speeding car before being consciously aware of danger, the brain will have already registered what is happening and set the chemical changes off, making you jump back out of the way and out of danger. It isn't until after the event is over that you will suddenly realise what has happened, and this is when you would probably feel the surge of anxiety that is running through your body. When we had a primitive life and our main purpose was to reproduce and hunt for food, this fight or flight response was really helpful. And it can be helpful in such as the example I have just used with stepping out in front of the car. However, in today's society, our brain can be tricked into thinking it is in danger when it really isn't. Research shows that our amygdala can also work with other areas of the brain to remember emotional memories, including those of frightening situations that have occurred in the past, and this can become a problem. The amygdala can be triggered in this way to react to situations that may seem similar to past experiences, and this can create an anxiety disorder. The amygdala can also be triggered with life experiences or severe or constant stress, and this can then produce an overactive amygdala, which means that the person will experience anxious feelings at times when there is no danger near. These feelings can come on at any given time, and the person can become overwhelmed with anxiety. Sometimes people can have a panic attack, and this is when feelings of anxiety, stress and panic all occur at the same time, and often this can be for no apparent reason. People experiencing panic attacks often experience a pounding heart, pains in their chest, feeling very hot, becoming shaky, feeling faint or dizzy, sweating, feeling sick, pins and needles, a dry mouth, a need to use the toilet urgently, tingling in their fingers, and a feeling like you're not able to breathe. The symptoms of a panic attack are very similar to a heart attack, and often somebody having a panic attack will think they are about to die. It is important to remember that nobody has ever died of a panic attack. A panic attack usually lasts no longer than 20 minutes, but do remember, for the person who is suffering, this can seem a really long time. If you experience panic attacks, it's really important to visit your doctor as soon as you can. When you have a panic attack, try to remain calm if at all possible. Remember, it isn't life-threatening, and try to breathe slowly and deeply, making sure your exhalation is longer than your inhalation. Focus on positive things in your life or positive experiences that you have previously had. You may want to think about a few memories that you can recall if you are a frequent sufferer of panic attacks, as it can be difficult to think clearly during a panic attack. Whilst the attack is happening, remind yourself that this is a temporary situation and the attack will pass. In the world we find ourselves in today, a number of people are experiencing more anxiety than normal. This could be because our brain is registering what is happening on the news and triggering our amygdala. We are in a world where our brain is being given an endless supply of news, some of which may be fake, such as some of the news we see on social media. This may well be making our amygdalas overactive. If you are feeling more anxious now than ever before, we need to learn how to help control this anxiety. Anxiety is a normal emotion that we need in our body, and luckily, because of some of the examples I have already shared with you previously, we will never rid of it. There's no quick fix to helping an anxiety disorder. However, with a combination of tools, therapies and techniques, and a willingness to open up to these helpful methods, you can get on the road to recovery. There are a number of ways we can help to get our anxiety under control. We can look for a good book that helps us understand anxiety, so we can really understand what is happening in our body when anxiety takes hold. Various therapies are also very successful in helping us control our anxiety. The use of mindfulness, Pilates and yoga can bring about a sense of calm for our mind, and long-term use can help with the control of anxiety. Aromatherapy massages can also help you to relax. Regular exercise can reduce stress and tension, which again can contribute to reducing anxiety in our body. And sugary foods and drinks, caffeine, alcohol and smoking can all make anxiety and panic attacks worse, so reducing these or cutting them out would help. Furthermore, if it is the current pandemic that's making you panic, try to restrict yourself to watching the news just once a day. Don't read anything on social media about this, as some of the stories you will worry about may not be true. And remember, don't worry about something that you are unable to change. Follow all the guidelines that we are being given and embrace your life today, here. There is a wealth of information about anxiety on the internet. The NHS, Mind, Anxiety UK and No Panic all have resources you can read to try and understand anxiety further. And also, don't forget to speak to your doctor.